Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Now I am going to start the most important topic of forensic medicine, that is autopsy. So this is the first lecture on the topic of autopsy, and the objective of this lecture will be that we'll get an introduction about what autopsy is. Then there are various synonymous words like necropsy, autopsy, post-mortem examination, and we'll learn and try to understand what are the differences in these words. Then, with starting of the topic of autopsy, I will be discussing its definition, various types of autopsies, and then the rules and the laws which are prevalent in our country for conduction of autopsies. So every country has got its own rules, own laws for the investigation of any crime, for conduction of autopsy. So I will be particularly discussing the laws and the rules which are prevalent in my country, that is Pakistan. Then I will discuss various techniques for the dissection of during the autopsy and post-mortem examination. Then I will discuss the types, and regarding the types, as you know, the major types that is either the physical autopsy and psychological autopsy. Physical autopsy means actually conduction of autopsy, which may be medical, which may be medico-legal, and mini-autopsy. Then in this lecture, I will be discussing the medical, medico-legal, and mini-autopsy in detail. So starting with the lecture, the first lecture of autopsy. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. So about the introduction of autopsy. Autopsy means a complete examination of dead body, both external and internal, that is external surface and internal contents, after opening its cavities. And also materials are collected for histopathological, biochemical, toxicological examination, and various other examinations which are required. So two other synonymous words which are commonly used, necropsy and post-mortem examination, besides the word autopsy. Necropsy means dead, so it means examination of dead. Recently, autopsy is used for human beings, and necropsy is used for either animals or inanimate things. Whereas post-mortem examination is examination after death, it does not include cutting and dissection of the body. It should be kept in mind that in states and some other countries, the autopsy and post-mortem examinations are two different procedures. The post-mortem examination in USA, the post-mortem examination means only external examination of body without cutting it. However, the collection of samples like fluids, urine, blood, with the help of needle can be collected. So autopsy will be discussing in this lecture the definition, the types of autopsy, objectives of autopsy, rules and laws, and techniques. So these topics I will be discussing in upcoming lectures. And today I will discuss the definition and the types of autopsy. So regarding the definition, autopsy means complete scientific examination. When we say complete, complete means complete opening up all the three cavities. So it's a complete scientific examination of dead body, both externally and internally, by incisioning the body, by cutting the body, opening the body, and collection of viscera for the examination. So regarding the types of autopsy, the autopsy is either physical and psychological. And physical is medical, medico-legal, and another term which is mini-autopsy, it is also used. So the types of autopsies are physical autopsy, which is medical, medico-legal, and mini-autopsy. So autopsy can also be said as negative autopsy, which means where the cause of death cannot be ascertained besides all the efforts. All the efforts mean dissection, histopathological, chemical, all the relevant tests which are required. All tests, they prove negative, then the autopsy is said to be negative. Then it can be said as positive, where the definite conclusion about the cause of death can be determined. So regarding psychological autopsy, it is an investigation along with the physical autopsy of the body. Psychological autopsy is performed in alleged cases of suicide to know about the mental state of the deceased at the time of death. And the information about the background of the person is also collected. So the physical autopsy, the medical, medico-legal, and mini, now we'll be discussing them. The medical or hospital or clinical autopsy. Medical autopsies are conducted on natural deaths occurring in hospitals by the physicians or pathologists to establish the medical cause of death, especially where the clinical investigations during the life of the patient remains futile in establishing the cause of death. Wherever the medico-legal autopsy is, it's a complete scientific study of the dead body, externally as well as internally, to establish the cause and manner of death under the law of state for the protection of society and administration of justice. So this is the complete definition of medico-legal autopsy, because justice is the main objective, because unless we know the motive, the cause of death, the manner of death, and the justice will be provided upon the medical ground when the case will be tried. So it's a complete scientific examination of the dead body, externally as well as internally. So when we say complete, That means we have to open all the 3 cavities during the autopsy examination. Even if we find the cause of death is in one cavity, we have to open the rest of the 2 to certify that the other 2 cavities are healthy. Only this cavity damage was the cause of death. So we have to dissect the complete body from head to toe to establish the cause of death. Then regarding mini-autopsy, it is a term for a type of partial autopsy in which there is extensive organ sampling or organ removal through a limited incision. For example, only 15 centimeter incision in the upper abdomen to collect the viscera, to collect the sample. So it's a partial autopsy. So summary of this lecture is that we have started our discussion on autopsy and we have learned what autopsy means and what are negative and positive autopsy. Then we have learned various synonymous words which are used for autopsy, and we have learned its types, that is psychological autopsy and physical autopsy, and physical autopsy is further medical autopsy, medico-legal autopsy, and mini-autopsy. So thank you very much. Take care. So this is all about the first lecture on the topic of autopsy.